New board day. This board has arrived for our 14-foot composite race board test. Something different about this board. It's come in 2 parts and the courier hasn't broken it. So this is Sunova's Allround Faast Pro 14x24 in 2 parts, which is going to be exciting.
It's coming! Gosh!
That's not 14 foot long, is it?
It's not 7.
So this is a super cool technology which we're really excited to have in the test because it's a bit more transportable. So Sunova are based in Thailand. They have their own factory, the board factory I think, and are pretty innovative, including this 2-piece technology, which is really cool to see. Well, it's a nice use of leftover EVA from the factory. So how does this work then, Gab? You should put some big rods in here or something.
Yeah, so there's hopefully in the other half of the board, over there, a big rod that goes in and that connects the 2 sides, and then you've got screws that then
Pull it all together.
And stop it coming apart.
So I expect a little bit of extra weight on this board.
Yeah, so you've got the sheaths that the rod sits in, obviously extra hardware, and you've obviously got this carbon plate as well, which I imagine they've had to strengthen up quite a lot over a standard board. It feels pretty like this half. Slash very light.
Beautiful finish, isn't it, on these boards?
It's got to be one of the best finishes, I think, of any board.
Look at that. That's so cool.
Such a nice thing. You get a rare insight as well. It's the bottom profile, which you can't normally see.
Oh yeah.
You can't normally look at that angle of the board, which is quite an interesting look of the board. How they've distributed the forces around the board, which is quite cool.
Pretty short fin. Does that look short to you?
I think it's more of I think it's like, looks.
It's just the shape.
It's a 9-inch fin, but it's just I think it's just fat and square at the bottom. It looks a little bit.
2 handles. They are to cover up the joint, I think, aren't they? On the rails.
Oh, yeah.
And then lots of screws, which I'm sure will
Work out.
Obviously, we're not going to read the instruction manual.
Of course not, guys.
Part 2. What are these?
So I'm assuming these are the carbon rods that connect the boards together.
Wow.
There they are. Shorter than I thought.
Very, very light. Yeah, well, about 50 centimetres long, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 50 centimetres, isn't it?
So light, aren't they?
50 mil. Yeah.
So yeah, I thought they'd be a lot denser.
Yeah, I just imagine the projection would be a bit longer as well. But obviously you just get half in each side of the board. Very slippery, can't do that.
So I was a bit worried whether I was have the right tool with me. But no probs provided. It's always good when that happens.
There she is.
Nice, and then it's got some big chunky bolts for the tubes.
Nice.
What's this nose about?
I think because the laminate comes this way on the ply, they then sort of laminate a block on the front and on the tail as well, to then give it a little bit more impact resistance and then to hold it all together, like you would if you were building a wooden canoe or something like that.
Oh.
It's just to sort of tie it all together.
That's your guess anyway.
That's me making stuff up. I'm pretty confident with my graphing.
Just making sure these
Go in
it's
nice
gone
and
right in, hasn't it? You won't want to get any sand in there, would you?
No. We probably not picking up the camera. They're like such an amazing fit. It's like even to put it in 3 inches, 3-4 inches, it's a fraction of place. As soon as you get to like just no play at all. It's such an amazingly good fit.
Guess that's key, isn't it?
Just looking what these sockets are as well, like they screw it, what they screw into.
So it's actually threaded in that carbon or plastic or something plate. Some sort of composite, isn't it?
Some sort of composite. I'm just trying to work out if there's a metal thread in there. It does look like there is.
So you screw through from both sides into a thread on the other side. Is that how it works?
Yeah, so there's one that goes that way into the top to bottom, and then another one that goes that way. So essentially the bolts are crossing over.
Yeah, that's cool. I've got readers who've used this type of stuff and just love it. But it's never been super popular, I don't think. But it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You've also got these little indents here and there. So that just helps lock everything together. So it's a bit like a jigsaw puzzle, an engineering jigsaw puzzle.
Bring the two together. So that one's not seated in as much. Something catching back here. It's not as in as that one.
Do you think they need to go fully in?
That's what I was just going to test. So that's how far it went into that board. And he's going a bit more than it is.
About a little knock.
I don't want to tap it too hard because this is probably quite thin. I might just still
About a centimetre away.
yeah, so about 10 mil.
Does the screw pull it together?
Don't think it does because they're coming at quite an angle. It's not pulling it linearly, it's clamping it to do that. I'll just try the other tube to sort of see if that's that one seemed to go in better. Call this the lefty tube. See if we can get two lefties and righties to meet.
They go together.
Got it clamped with the old legs this end. Let's just give it a pull.
Oh,
It's quite satisfying, that.
look at that. That's so cool.
There's zero step as well there. That's just, you wouldn't know that that's a break in a board. That's just, we'll have a look once it's all together on the bottom, but amazingly.
That's incredible, isn't it? You can't see it at all. Interesting how you've got the lump in the middle on this. I wonder if that's to do with the two-part technology or if that is just bottom shape, or deck shaping.
Yeah.
Just interesting.
Also the other interesting where this is in correlation to, you'd imagine this is the centre of the board. So you'd think this is your standing spot. So you'd be interesting to sort of see how this correlates to where you stand. If that's an annoyance or if it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. Sort of feels like you could probably get a little bung to put in that, doesn't it?
There's quite a lot of thread to go in. There's quite a lot of contact, which is, I think, quite good. You wouldn't want it just a little bit into the board. Do you think a power tool will be quite useful at this point?
Yeah, but it almost looks like a custom-made screwdriver and a custom-made screw, doesn't it?
Bottoms out on that. I think it's an 7 or 8 mil hex.
There must be a reason why they've done that, and I think it's probably so people don't, so people don't use power tools.
Potentially, I think.
Because you could do it wrong, and then you could just screw the thread, couldn't you?
Yeah, I think if you destroyed the thread, then they do register quite well, which is does feel quite.
What do you mean by that? It's just it's going in nicely.
Going in because it's going through a collar on this half of the board into this half, and it lined up really well. And it's I didn't feel like it was going to be cross-threaded at any point. It did feel very. But if your race is starting in 5 minutes, you are going to get a power tool out. 4 of these to put in. And then there's these top plates as well to...
And that's again going to stiffen it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's just to get that extra bit of stiffness. Because at the top of this, because essentially the deck isn't that thick. So I think having this up here gives it that extra strength, because then it's holding the rails together, which I think why dugout boards are quite nice. I think with that on a dugout board with that high sidewall, I think they're stronger than a flat deck. Because a flat deck, you've only got quite a small cross section to
join. Yeah.
To join.
I love it. I think it's so cool that they're just trying it and doing it, and there's clearly been a lot of thought into it, and it presents a lot of positives for a lot of people. I think flying with this is going to be easier, or possible. Rather than impossible.
But it opens up that possibilities of travelling with it.
And,
being shorter, it's going to be easier for airport guys to manhandle. What I've seen when they've got a 14-foot board, I think Holly posted a couple of years ago going to a race of somebody just wrestling her board onto the conveyor belt.
Yeah.
If it's that wide, that high, and only 7 foot long, I think it's a lot easier for them to manhandle. So theoretically, less frustration. So.
Oh wow, yeah. There's no change in height, is there?
No. Also, the wood. The thing about the Sunova boards was really nice is the wood covering, and it's really nice the fact they have used the same veneer all the way through. Could have been quite easy where they've joined it here, just have this join on the join, but it's really nice they haven't done that.
This is the carbon compact is the technology and the patent, or the business that holds the patent for this technology. So it's not Sunova's technology, is it? I think it's a separate company that Sunova licensed it from them, I guess.
The downside of having a two-piece, if I needed a two-piece for transport storage, which obviously improves both of those things, if I had to do this every time I went paddling, like inflating an ice up, it's going to be a barrier to a quick half-hour paddle. You're going to want to go for a proper good paddle to make it worthwhile there.
Yeah. It's imagine when you get used to this, it's as quick as pumping an ice up.
It's going to be the same. Less effort, you just sat doing bolts up.
Yeah.
So that's brilliant, but you obviously get the performance benefit of a composite and the beautiful nature of this board. Always wanted a Sunova just because they're fucking amazing.
It's really good. I guess one of the other downsides is that's going to be a little extra drag, but not so much of a problem on that one. But this one is the front. But I guess just a little bit of thin tape over that would solve that problem.
I'd probably think about just bogging that up. Obviously, it needs to have a slight hole in it, because as the bolt goes in, that pressure's got to go out, which is probably why they've made it open. Bottomless and open. But that could just be a super small hole. I'd potentially think about covering those.
So just quickly looking over this board, what we do see is that you've got a little FCS mount there for GoPro camera or some tech. Leashing point here, vent in the front, lots of handle positions, so 2 handles at the front, bop handles. These are for your joining bars, handle position in the middle, handles at the back, and obviously the vent plug for the second half of the board, and a rear leashing point. So these little side pieces are handed, so I've got the left one here, and they're also marked on which is the nose and the tail. So there you go.
The question is, do we put the washers in?
I would put the washers on because
there's enough of them, isn't there?
Crush the carbon otherwise. This is non-impact, just a drill.
Just a drill, just a normal drill driver with the clutch quite low, so it's nice to have these not PZ as well, have it like a hex or a star drive.
Yeah.
So I can see these rounding out.
Yeah.
Being that they're stainless.
That's a good point. I've noticed that on some of the straps and windsurfing boards, they're now Torx star drives, which is just so much better than screws, aren't they?
Yeah, just they don't round out. Well, they take a lot longer to round out, and because these are stainless, obviously they're quite soft.
Yeah. So looking at whether we could attach any cargo to this, because kind of these boards aren't just race boards; they're often can be crossover into some touring. You could probably do something, couldn't you?
Wide.
You could put some bungee nets across here.
Definitely get some nets or straps across the
Yeah,
front.
actually there is enough, isn't there?
Your feet are going to be here, so you're going to be out. So you could get 2 reasonably good bags on it.
Bit of concave.
Bit of concave at the tail.
Yeah.
Come to more of the concave in the middle of the board. Single concave. Still, the rails are coming off a little bit, which is nice.
Yeah.
Right up in the front. Pretty much flat.
Flattens off.
Relatively
Nicely rounded, isn't it?
nicely around the nose, which would be nice in that chop. Shouldn't get pulled around too much.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to compare these boards' bottom shapes in the test that we're running, to check out how their different stability is, because the bottom shape is such a big impact on the stability, and those rail shapes really impact stability and how well they work in chop, don't they?
Yeah.
So it's going to be fascinating stuff. So what do you make of it?
I like the fact it's 2-part. It'd be interesting to sort of see how much that makes difference in weight. Yeah, the outline shape I really like. It's not too much width here. On other boards, you've got too much width, a lot of width here. You just end up pushing quite a lot of water. With this sort of tapers down nicely, I think it should pedal.
It's a nice all-rounder, isn't it, this? It's going to look like a nice all-rounder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm impressed with it. I think it looks an absolutely stunning piece of kit as well.
Yeah, Sunova boards, I've always really liked them. They just look amazing. With all the boards out there, having that sort of wood veneer on them, they just look stunning.
Well, we'll get out on the water tomorrow on it, see how it performs. Not going anywhere right now. So make sure you check out the SUPboarder PRO head-to-head race board test. Coming super soon.